Hello, future Megan here. So this vlog is going to be entirely making pins because that's literally all I did this week. But on Monday I did my nails, but only on one hand because I'm right-handed only. So the first half is going to be doing my nails, and then the next half is going to be mostly me randomly talking about stuff, going to Blick's, and then making pins. So if you want to skip like all the nail stuff, you can go to this time code to go to the pin making part if you want to just watch that. Okay, enjoy the video. Good after morning. I think I'm gonna do my nails today. If you guys haven't noticed, which I hope you guys didn't notice, because I guess it can be kind of gross, but I was growing out my nails for like the last couple of weeks, and I actually was super into like doing my own nails for like a hot minute. Like I was so hyper fixated on like at-home manicures. Like I bought my own like UV LED lamp and like gel and the nail template things and what is it called? It's like a like the nail builder. It's like a this thing. Just put a picture. So I have like a gazillion of those, and I don't know. I spent so much money on like creating my kit, and you know, it's come in handy for like other projects. But now that I'm in quarantine, or have been in quarantine for, or pandemic time, I'm gonna do my nails today. And we'll do it together. How about that? So I actually misplaced my UV lamp somewhere in this house, or I lost it in the move or something, so I just ended up buying a new one. I just bought some cheap one off the internet, and I hope it works well. It's cute, it's pink. So yeah, we'll be using this. Hi guys, so welcome to the nail part of the video. This is becoming that channel now. So I start to loosen my cuticles with this cuticle remover that I got, and they only had it in like the giant size at my local beauty supply store, and it is honestly way too much. But I'm gonna use some wooden stick things and this cuticle remover to basically scrape off my cuticles. I don't know what else to tell you beyond that. So I feel like I need to make a disclaimer. I don't know any like nail technician techniques. I don't know proper safety or hygienic practices when it comes to this stuff. I just watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to do this safely and for my own personal use, so that I don't, you know, make a big mess. And also, I kind of only gauge my own sensitivity to how I utilize the tools. Like for example, these cuticle trimmers, I am like so soft with them because my cuticles are so sensitive, and one wrong like clip and my cuticle will be bleeding for quite a bit. And it's happened a few times like at salons. And so yeah, same thing on the right side. Just gonna go in with the cuticle remover and clean it up. And once again, trying to be extra careful with the cuticle trimmers. I will go in, even though my left hand is not very dominant. I get a little nervous when it comes to this part. It happened. Yeah. So we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. And so now let's put on a mask, because this is the part where it can get a little dusty, and just gonna file them to shape. So at this point, I realized I did not want to deal with having to do my nails with my non-dominant hand, so I just cut my nails really short on my right hand and decided I'm only gonna do one hand today. So now that my fingernails are ready to go, for the design I decided to do some dried flowers that I had. I picked orange and blue, and I decided I'll add some gold flakes and some caviar, I think is what it's called. They're little beads. And so I decided to snip the flowers off from the base and totally miss the plate. And pick them up one at a time with the tweezers. And just kind of get ready to place them on my fingernail and see how it looks. So once I got like a vague idea or a plan in my head of like how I want to decorate my nail, I go in and prep and prime my nails for the gel application. So I use the prep and then I use the primer. And then I go in with my first layer of clear gel to create a tacky surface for my flower placements and other decorations that I want to put on there. This is the part that takes me the longest just because it's like trying to figure out a good composition on a nail bed that's like half a centimeter long. And once I'm satisfied with kind of the placement of everything, I'll go back and encapsulate it with another layer of thick clear gel and really solidify my design choices so that I can go in and file it down to shape again later. Once I'm done filing it down to shape, I'll go ahead and put a layer of clear top coat, cap the end, cure it under the lamp, and it's ready. I did that exact process for the remaining 4 nails, so you didn't really miss anything since it's all the same design. And I'm really happy with how it came out. I think it's really pretty. Very fall themed. And then here's my right hand, which I decided to bail on. It'll be nubby forever. Yay! Hi, it's Wednesday. Tuesday didn't happen. Yeah, Tuesday, I didn't do anything on Tuesday. So we're here in my car. We're driving across town to go to Blick's so I can pick up some art supplies for myself and for my mom because she's taking some classes online. Right now, the city I'm going to is currently like near the current wildfires in California, so the air quality is probably just going to get worse and worse from here. Yeah, I'm back, and hello. You know what's so funny? So this guy at the Blick's looking for watercolors, and he was like trying to ask the workers a question like, oh, what's the difference between these 2 watercolors? And the workers were so busy, and I was in the same aisle as him, and like I could answer his question like in 2 seconds, and like he was just kind of standing there like waiting. I just went over and I was like, I can probably answer your question. What is it that you're trying to look for? And then I help him find the watercolors that he needed. And then the worker comes and awkwardly stands there like watching me talk to him. And then later on they offered me a job to work at Blick's, and I was like, tempting. Anyways, I've bought some paints. These things, acrylic gouache. I bought them in quite a array of colors. I have more. Why don't I just like lay them out for you and show you? So I have all of these colors, and the reason why I bought these is because, one, I ran out of gouache. If you guys watched my very first couple of YouTube videos, you'll know that I did the Warrior Painter Plen April challenge. And I managed to finish 30 paintings, which I never showed YouTube, but it's on my Instagram. But now, the really trendy thing that I see everyone doing is making clay pins. And I have a lot of clay, and I actually used to sculpt quite a bit, and I thought, why not? It looks so fun, it looks so cute. I see like, well, first I saw Cheyenne Barton like do like her thing on YouTube for clay pins, and then I saw G Soupy do a bunch of cute froggy pins and a little handmade accessories. And then Toe Beans, our friend Rachel, she did these cute doggo pins that I bought, so I'm excited for it to come in the mail. And then so now I want to make some too. So that's what we're gonna do today, maybe. It's kind of like late in the day. I started my day really late. But I did carve out some time today to go to Blick's to pick up some nice paint. Like create a little palette instead of just using like the primary colors that I have. I did have some like acrylic paints that I gave to my mom. The dogs. Someone rang the doorbell. But I really wanted to get some nice acrylic gouache because for one, I'm a really big fan of like an acrylic slash gouache hybrid, because let me tell you another story. Story time. Back in 2014, 2015, 2014, 2013. I don't remember what year. But I took an illustration class like very early college, and it was the first time I ever used gouache. What's so funny is I thought, wow, gouache is really cool. It's like really like flat graphic, like matte kind of velvety finish. I hear dogs. Are there dogs here? There's a doggy. Oh, there's a doggy. There's a doggy. She got a haircut, so she looks kind of... she looks so funny. She looks like a poodle now. Oh, puppy. Look at your puppy. Oh, puppy. Oh, puppy. Puppy. Okay, out you go. Well, Mel, sorry. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, gouache. It was the first time I used gouache, and I liked how it was flat, graphic, and it has like a nice velvet finish to it. And then I thought, okay, well, gouache only comes in like tubes that are like this big, and they cost like $1 gazillion each, and it's expensive. So I used a lot of white, obviously, because everyone mixes a lot of white, and I thought it's opaque, so my dumbass thought like mixing it with acrylic paint was a good idea, and overall like nothing bad happened to my paintings. Like I got the colors that I needed and it was fine. Then my illustration teacher was like, don't do that. And I'm like, why? He's like, you're mixing a watercolor based paint with an acrylic, like a polymer plastic paint, like it doesn't mix, like just don't do that, it's weird. And then in my brain I'm just like, I don't know, paint is paint is paint is me. And so me still being that same dumbass, I bought more white acrylic paint because it was cheap. But then when I heard about acrylic gouache, I was like, no way, it's just a cardinal sin that exists in the tube. And I thought, no way. I thought I made this up in like early college, but it exists. So I found out about this late into community college, because when I went to the art store and I saw this, I was like, no way, you're mixing acrylic paint and gouache? And so here we are. And it's really popular, I noticed, among the handmade pin making, clay pin, sometimes plein air painting community. And a lot of people really like it, and for good reason too, because I really like them, because it's like an acrylic paint, but not really, because it's still like gouache. And it paints really nicely, the colors are really vibrant, and it doesn't like reactivate itself after it's dried for a little bit, kind of like how the Winsor Newton gouache is. Like that was a struggle that I had to deal with as a young illustration student. Like, you know, it's a different color when it's wet from when it's dry, so I would keep like going over like the layers of paint, and it was a struggle because when it's wet, but when it's dry, it's a different color. But if you touch the wet on the dry, it'll reactivate that area, and it's like wet paint again, and then you're just confused. Anyway, that was a long ramble about why I like acrylic gouache and why I bought new colors. And I specifically got colors that I can't mix, so like these pastel-y kind of pigments. My favorite color, like alizarin crimson, but they didn't have like alizarin crimson in acrylic gouache. They had it in crimson, which was a little bit too bright, and then wine red, which I thought was pretty close to alizarin crimson. And yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know what else to say. Let's make some pins, yeah? Congratulations, you've made it to the actual pin making part of the video. So let's pull out the supplies. I'm gonna use a rolling pin, some old Sculpey, a razor, and a pointy stick, and 2 pencils that I ended up not using. So first, my Sculpey is like pretty old, so it's like really brittle, but still like really good condition for however long I had it for. I just like knead it until it's really soft. And then I'll go in with a rolling pin to just flatten it out so that I have a decent thickness for cutting out basically like what's like cookies for the clay pins. I tried to first like sketch out like initial ideas for what I wanted to do with these pins. So using the sketch that I did on Procreate, I kind of cut out like the same shapes of the designs that I wanted to do, but I ended up scrapping this idea and just kind of going with something else. The first set of shapes that I cut out came out a little bit thick, so I decided for my next set of shapes I was going to roll it out a bit thinner. And instead of using the pre-planned designs that I had, I decided to just kind of cut out whatever shapes that I felt like, and the process became a lot more freeform and organic. And I kind of liked the spontaneous freedom that I had with these next couple of shapes that I ended up cutting out. I realized the first couple of pins that I cut out were definitely too thick, so I rolled them out again on the rolling pin and made them a little bit thinner to match the thickness of all the other ones that I cut out. Once I felt like I had enough pins, I transported them downstairs to the oven so I could bake them. I honestly can't tell if they're done. So now with our, I think finished baked pins, they're really flexible, but they didn't snap or break, and they're really hard and they won't change shape. So I just decided to file the edges, call them done, and go on to finishing. I honestly felt like I was doing so much filing this week. First it was my nails, and now these pins. And once everything's filed down, I'll go ahead and wipe them with some rubbing alcohols to clean off any dust. So it's the next day, Thursday, September 17th, and off camera, I test painted a couple of pieces with the acrylic gouache to see how they adhere to the clay, and it is absolutely beautiful. I used the misty green for some of these, and I used a yellow ochre for that one at the bottom. At first I wanted to do like these random like doodles of like hands and girls, but it didn't really look as nice as I would have liked it, so instead I decided to do these really nice gouache paintings of fish. So I did a mackerel, and this one's gonna go to my uncle because he really likes mackerel. And I'm gonna paint just a bunch of sea creatures on the other blank ones. So while I paint this blue crab, I will tell you a story about my experiences with wildfires in California, since that's happening right now.
Yeah, so since I've got like a 30-minute drive, let me tell you guys a story. So last year the wildfires got dangerously close to my house, and I'm just gonna tell you firsthand like my experience. So I was still going to school at Art Center. It was like, yeah, it was literally like around this time, like in September. I remember going home like that evening, like, you know, everything's hunky-dory. I actually like planned to have like two of my friends come over my house, and we were gonna work on our homework together. But I remember driving on the overpass, going home at night, and I'm like, wow, there's a fire out in the hills, like that sucks. And I'm just like, whatever, and I just kept going home. But that night, my childhood friend, which I hadn't like talked to in like a while, she texted me at like 4 a.m. No, actually no, I think she called me, and it's 4 a.m. like Angie's calling me, like this sounds like a serious situation. So I answered the phone. I'm like, hey, what's up? She's like, yo, there's a fire like in our area. We have to evacuate now. Grab your important documents, like pack up your stuff and like get out. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? I was like, kind of like, I didn't believe her at first. I was like, no way. And then so as soon as I look out my window, like it is glowing orange outside. It is like 3-4 a.m. It is glowing orange outside. And I'm like, oh, that's a fire. So I run over to my parents' room and I'm like, Mom, Dad, wake up, like we need to go. There's a fire, we have to evacuate, we have to pack. And then my mom and dad, they're like, really? Like, oh, we've gone through this before, no big deal, you know? And I'm like, I don't know, Mom. We moved to a house that is now like surrounded by brush. We're closer to the hills that are on fire, and it's glowing red outside and it's moving fast. Like we need to pack and we need to go. And then so my mom was like, well, the wind is blowing the other direction. Oh, but it's fine. I think it's okay. And I'm like, I don't know. And then so my dad was like, all right, let's drive. Let's take out the car and we'll drive around the block. So me and my dad, we get in the car and we literally drive like maybe 10,000 feet, like not very far. And lo and behold, there's the fire. It's on the hill, like not even like half of, like it was dangerously close. It was like 2 minutes driving out of my neighborhood, and then it's like, hello, it's around the corner. And then so we drive by it, and my dad's still like, I'm not convinced. I'm like, Dad, we need to pack, we need to get out. This is a situation. So, you know, we drive around the block a little bit more. Like literally our local park is on fire, and so my dad's like, all right, I'm convinced we need to pack. But anyway, so me and my parents were packing kind of slowly. We're taking our sweet time because the fire was still like far enough for us to like think about what we need to pack, but also like, you know, we were packing rather quickly. So, you know, we grabbed the dogs, grabbed the dog bag things. I literally unplugged my Cintiq and took just my Cintiq because I figured, well, I have time to like really think about what I want to bring with me. So my essentials were like my favorite clothes, which were narrowed down to like 3 days worth of clothes and underwear. My Cintiq, my hard drive, and pretty much like, you know, like my phone, any like small essentials that like I would take with me. And it's such like an eerie like way to, like, let me tell you about this psychologically. Like, you know, when you're packing for a trip, you're like, oh, I want to take this, I want to take this, like, oh, I only really need this for like X amount of days. Like, you know, I whipped out my suitcase and I'm packing, but I'm packing as if, okay, what am I okay with perishing in the fire, and what am I like, what are my like necessities, you know, like what do I need, what can I not live without? And so at the time it was, you know, my main focus was graduating, so I was like, well, I need all my projects that I need for my grad wall, and a lot of the things that I was trying to bring was like unrealistic. Thankfully, like most of my files were digital, so I just, you know, packed like my tiny little hard drive and my Cintiq, which I shoved in a pillowcase, which I think is hilarious, but like I grinded my ass off to buy that Cintiq and I'm not about to lose it in a fire. I was ready to just let my computer perish. You know, my favorite pillow and blankets, my favorite 2 stuffed animals that I had like since I was like 6. You know, obviously the necessities, clothes, and we didn't pack like any water or food because we evacuated to my aunt's house. So yeah, we didn't have to worry about like hunkering down in like an evacuation zone or like in like some community recreation center and like have to have food for ourselves. So thankfully enough, like, you know, we have family that's super local, and we just stayed over at their house, and we stayed there for a few days. And so big thank you to my auntie for being able to house like our family. Thankfully it was just me and my parents. I don't know, we tried to like keep calm and keep cool and not panic so much. You know, we tried to like cope by joking around, like, well, it was nice living in this house for however long we lived in this house for, and you know, we were just kind of like mentally preparing for the worst, but knowing and kind of hoping that everything will be fine in the end. Thankfully they let us back home like a couple days later. They opened all the roads again and let people go back home slowly. California wildfires are very real, and they are very dangerous, and they really suck, and I'm really praying for the weather to cool down and the winds to die down so that these fires stop spreading. Yeah, that's really all I get.
I spent all of this week just doing my one hand of nails and making clay pins, but I took a really long time making the clay pins. I'm still not finished, so I'll probably show the finished result next week. But it's been pretty fun trying to figure out how to make these. The glazing process, or the resin part, is really tough for me because I really want it to be like perfect, but the edges aren't fully cured yet, and I'm having a hard time like keeping it from like touching each other because I'm trying to fit everything under my lamp. So I might have to go back and touch up some of those parts before I glue on the pin backs and then eventually sell them. So I will have to continue that next week because I'm running out of time and I need to edit this video tonight so that you can watch it today. Oh god, I really gotta stop putting all the editing in one night. I need to like scatter it out throughout the day. Today's gonna be a long night for me. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this week's vlog. It wasn't much, just making pins, but I hope you liked it. Thank you for watching my videos. Man, I gotta have a better outro than just that.